Hey everybody, this is Congressman Mark Green. Welcome to Whiteboard Wednesday. We're going to do a three-part series for this Whiteboard Wednesday, The Challenge Facing America. This is, of course, part one. What happened? Well, for the past 4 years, there have been nothing but massive attacks against President Trump and everything he's tried to do. And it started with a falsified FBI request for a FISA warrant. And it went into the whole fake Russia collusion thing. Remember, we've seen the evidence. Well, that turned out to be a lie from Adam Schiff and crew. Of course, that led to an impeachment. And then, of course, they've done nothing but destroy one of the best economies in the nation's history, shut down education, harming children, increase suicide rates now. They've ignored the massive successes of this administration. Criminal justice reform, remember that? Trump did that. Meanwhile, Pelosi's Congress has done nothing but basically centralized power in Washington, D.C., which, as we know, when power is concentrated, leads to tyranny. House Resolution 1 takes the control of elections from the states and pulls it to Washington, D.C. H.R. 8 actually removes religious freedoms from laws previously passed. The Green New Deal, no cars, no planes, no trains. Proxy voting puts power in the hands of Pelosi. The 25th Amendment stuff she's been trying to do. I mean, how dare she tell the cabinet how they can execute the 25th Amendment? This and so much more has created anger and frustration. 74 million people in America. And yes, there were a handful of criminals who stormed into the Capitol and broke laws, but you cannot compare these people and their frustration to that, and you certainly can't just negate what these people are feeling about this kind of stuff. Well, why is this tension present in the first place? Well, 20 years ago, the right and the left, our ideologies aligned a little bit, at least enough where we could govern. Now, these two philosophies have grown so far apart. I mean, I heard AOC the other day talk about universal rent control, which is right out of Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto. That's where the left has gone. On the right, we're more free market, more individual responsibility, and yes, populism has risen on the right as a response to global frustrations with globalization. So you have these two ideologies with very little overlap. And what's happening is the current option. I guess we could continue doing business the way we've been doing it. With centralized power in Washington, it's all about who wins the election. And then the pendulum swings to one side or the other. Before it was on the right with executive orders because Congress is broken. Now it's swung back here over to the left. Executive orders after executive orders, undoing those executive orders. For example, allowing biological males to compete against young girls in high school sports. I mean, it's going to destroy women's high school sports. So I guess we could continue that option where power just swings based on the pendulum. But I think there's a better option, option B, and that's what the founders built. They anticipated this. They called it federalism, and it was written into the 10th Amendment. The power not expressly given to the federal government by the states, by the way, would be reserved to the states. Well, we've taken that power back with all this kind of stuff. We've got these two divergent opinions. Why don't we give the power back to the states and let Tennessee and Texas be as right as we want to be, and California and New York can be as leftist as they want to be? That's part one of this week's Whiteboard Wednesday, and I'll talk more about federalism in part two. Thanks.